Game 2 of the Taini Jamison series at Te Rauparaha Stadium in Porirua. Dame Noeline Taurua joins us, Silver Ferns coach. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
It's a tough job at times, isn't it? And it's probably never been tougher for you right now.
Yeah, look, hey, it definitely is. I'm not going to waver on that. And if we look at our results, not only from Netball World Cup, but also the loss that we recently had, it's not looking great. And, next game is going to be massive for us.
I've read a lot of comments from past players, Noeline, that and they're saying not playing in Australia, not playing in that competition and just having our own domestic competition, that this is catching up with us. Do you agree with those comments?
Oh, look, I'm not going to shy away from those comments, but also I've heard, what happens when you do that, then you gut your domestic competition out as well. So that's what happened. And when we did ANZ, when I was there as coach with Magic, we played the Trans-Tasman, but we didn't have that next level coming in underneath as well. So I think there is a gap in our current system around having a bit of a Trans-Tasman. Now, whether it's club to club, like they do in rugby league, that's a possibility. And that's something that we've been able to talk about for a few years. So I think there's opportunities there in the system.
Yeah, and just off the top of my head, I'm thinking maybe is there a possibility of having the two competitions dovetail into each other so we can get some of the imports that Australia have playing here and teach our girls as well? I mean, that's just a thought.
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid point as well. So it's, because if we go like a Trans-Tasman like we used to, then the development or the pathways within New Zealand is not going to be as strong. Whether we like it or not, we don't have the same resources. So we've only got so much dosh, much people. Yep. So we've got to be creative in what we do. And it's not as easy as throwing everything out, because when I look at Australia in comparison to us, we have 6-1. So they have 6 New Zealand players, 6 netball players. We only have 1. So the population is not the same. Just got to be a bit smarter as how we can do it, and then get those relationships with Australia or England as to filling that.
Anyone, how far behind are we right now? And I'm looking at the results over and also that World Championship as well. Are we a matter of just, 10 goals? And what does that translate to in your mind?
Yeah, Grace, for example, in Netball World Cup, she got injured maybe around the 3rd round. And when you have somebody like her, you're going to lose a volume shooter. That's sort of like having a Janelle out. Normally you can shoot, roughly around the volume of a 60-pointer. So at the moment we don't have that volume shooter, which is going to make a difference to the overall product of what we can put out there. So it's either with what we have, we've got to be able to be more mobile. We've got to be able to let that ball go and be able to withstand the pressure or the body contact. And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And that's probably the space that we're currently in at the moment.
How much do you personally want to turn this around? And is that enough for you to want to stay around in the job?
If I'm going to be honest, I for us to lose or be in that position in Netball World Cup, I absolutely hate it. And it's gut-wrenching, and it's something, that we pride ourselves on, being a past Silver Fern, also my responsibility in the head coach role. So I put my hand up on that. But I also keep the faith, because it might be something with this current era and these current players that something may click, and I've got to sort of work into that space to try and find that connection. So, there's moments there where we can hold it, but we're not consistent in regards to our ability to mentally tough it out when the pressure gets on, and trust each other when those connections need to happen. But it will happen. We just got to hurry that up in that process as much as we can, and make sure that we work hard as much as possible and be smart.
I feel stupid by asking you this question because your track record speaks for itself. But, of course, these questions come up when teams aren't winning. Are you still the best person for the job, and do you believe that you are?
Yeah, to be honest, once again, and I think I'm pretty honest, I wonder. And, these next couple of rounds with Taini Jamison, playing against England and also Australia, will not necessarily be able to answer that, but, whether the gap widens or something else needs to change. So I'm contracted to the end of November and open once again to do what's required for the game. but also how we're going to better work together. I mean, I'm talking about myself and also the players to get a better connection and put something better out on court.
Is it a fair observation that, you know, when we're playing the really top teams, that they seem to move the ball so much quicker and easier through the court? And I thought during the World Championship, we're just really struggling with that. And I mean, I don't know why that is. You're a better place to know why that is. But it just seemed that our passes were a bit laboured, or we're just a bit forced, or it just seemed harder for us.
Yeah, and it was hard, once again. So when you're looking at that, you're looking at the skill sets of individuals, their ability and the confidence in each other to hit the space, turn and let the ball go. In New Zealand, which is probably why some of my peers have mentioned around the system, we play like a spatial game. We play zone. So we're not used to that man-to-man sort of style, which happens playing against international teams, and our ability to execute under pressure time and time again. So you're right in what was seen. In saying that, I must say, I always say that it doesn't matter how you get the ball through or what it feels like, long as it gets from one end to the other and put it through the hoop.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't get caught up in that. You know, like, it doesn't matter if we have to roll around on the ground just to get it through and toughen it out, well, so be it. And I think that's also an area for us where we currently are, is our ability to be able to grind. You know, and you see all the top teams, whether it's netball or bloody rugby or, you know, they can grind when the discipline needs to happen, and you just do the simple things well and keep the tempo and keep the foot on the neck. You know, so that's actually the key. I don't care how it looks like, but that's the key for us to be able to get through to the other end and get that level of discipline.
Well, I'll tell you, a good place to start would be coming out from 1-0 down and winning this trophy. I don't care how good or not England are. I don't care. I just want results on the board, and I'm sure you do too. So all the very best of luck with that, eh? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
I love talking to you and love having you on your program, and thank you so much. That is Dame Noeline Taurua with us.